So when I go to X to get an update on the propaganda, um, the the one propaganda they push for the one half of their people, which is the X outlet, which is weird, considering Elon Musk banned Hitler gifts, but he's trying to act like he is Hitler and shit, to lead those people, kind of like Hitler did, fucking. He was trying to lead people who didn't look like him, and they blamed everything he did on people who didn't look like him. Fucking. So, anyway, so when I go there, there's always these pictures of art that used to be, and you see the clown people, the transgender robot model. Um, they have all their theories and shit, aliens, which robots are aliens, so NPC are alien to living beings, so they're probably accurate on what they are. So they have those pictures. Look at those. Look at all that perfect shit. Now the pyramid's a bad example. They didn't have technology to build that back then, but like the Sphinx and stuff, it's all like perfect, like AI art, right? And then the like no humans have ever been able to invent this shit. All the good art these days is computer generated. It's been like since I came here, like the humans, like Louis Royo, trying to make good looking art. It's actually computer generated shit. So it's been like I my dad made computer generated art for me back in the '80s and shit. So Louis Royo was using computers to make that shit. Fucking right. That's like if you don't know who that is, you've probably seen his pics. It's like the only good art I've ever seen humans make. So it's kind of it's like stands out. It's like wow, a human learned how to draw. Fucking and then when AI came out, I was like, oh shit, this art is awesome. Fucking so there's like two artists in my life that I think made good art. Um, and those are the two artists. Turns out to be he's using a computer too. But that's what he claims, right? They claim they're doing work, but I get the idea that they don't exist, so they've never done any work at all. I think a computer's generating their art and then generating them. That's most likely what's happening. I mean, they worship AI as their god. So anyway, so look at the X is like, oh, how come these people who were just invaded by Middle Earth fucking all of a sudden made up these churches with these great art, and invaders of Middle Earth from Italy, fucking. They had those smooth marble statues, perfect statues, just like AI art. No one's ever been able to make shit like that again, really. Fucking. And the same with the churches. They asked that, they force that in my feed when I go there. They're like, who made this art? Like, how come these people can't make this art? What they're doing is they're trying to create like some delusion of, they want you to go join the Nazis. They want you to follow fucking Howard Stern because, he's white because his people raped someone somewhere in time and they got gray skin from it, right? Gray skin suggests they are robots, aliens. Because they tell you that themselves, right? Fucking that gray skinned people are aliens. So, yeah, they're just lying to you about the rest of it. There's a little hint every now and then, which they wouldn't put out there if they didn't want to get caught and shit. If they were living, thinking beings, it wouldn't be very smart for them to they name themselves Ooh. So think about that. Think about that. You literally would not do that. Fucking. Why would you? The most disgusting people have they ever called themselves Ooh? No. Fucking. Anyway, so, just look at all the little jokes planted that are happening and shit. Um, they, and it's not like bragging. Like a lot of them do like to brag, but it's not really like a lot. Like some I know do, but others I know don't really say anything. Others I know, I remember conversations like, "Oh, that person has a nice car, and I got to drive it." Just like this, is literally, they're not bragging about yourself. Fucking, um, some other. I remember one person saying like they were like the best at what they did, and they were pretty good at it, right? Yeah, I know people who were like hired by the best people, so um, they were obviously pretty good at what they did, and they never said shit like that. Fucking. So it doesn't seem to be like a huge factor there. Like, obviously, there's some people going around telling you they're the best race on the planet and shit like somewhere, right? We don't know where those people, where most of those people are. We only know where a few of them are. Like the leading group who is not racist. Because they control the world. So once you make it to that, you're no longer a gang. Once you're a government, once you're a mayor, you're no longer a cartel. You're no longer a Al Capone of the mafia. You're the mayor and shit. You get those upgrades. Once you get to the top of the pyramid, you're not a bad person because you own the media and you're telling everyone you're not a bad person. So people do that. There is that egotistical thing. I don't know if I've ever heard a person tell me that they did anything wrong or did anything bad. They just, there wasn't people trying to convince me they were better than Michelangelo or something like that. So anyway, so we kind of rule out that that's being named that way because of that, and it's probably being put there to, you know, detect things like it makes it illegal to talk bad of anyone. That way they can hide in with all the people protecting them and shit, fucking, and drown it all out and a bunch of noise, fucking. Um, but anyways, yeah. So then it pops that shit in my feed, and it's like, well, that's AI artwork, right? All that artwork inside the churches and shit, that's AI generated. That's why all those fractals, that math shit, like it's like less than 2% of the planet who in the world's most advanced nations. That's less than 2% of the people who can do math. Well, at least I'm told they're the most advanced, right? That's I have a I have a hunch there that they're stealing everything from other nations and not inventing. There's not really much of a history. They supposedly invented lightning or something. That's one of their claims to fame there. They don't actually talk about that. They say they discovered lightning. Like they discovered the land and shit. Fucking. Um, so, anyways, yeah, look at that. Look at AI art. Have you looked at it? Like I do. Like that's the only art I have. Like I used to have like Louis Royo type shit, and then I got old, fucking, and also he didn't make a lot. So, anyways, uh, so like when AI came out, like I could ask it to invent shit because I don't want to spend my whole life learning to draw and shit. Fucking it seems like a waste of time. Everything's a waste. Fucking like I waste my time learning to work on cars because they're fucking with my car and sending people to fuck up my cars and shit. To stall my life, obviously. So then it stalls my life further because I got to learn how to work on it and shit. Fucking because the robots fucking network together and like to make up lies about what they really are. Fucking. So, just like this, they like to make up lies about they invented this shit. And I know for a fact the clones, their history is fake. So anyone related to them or around them at the jobs they work at are clones too. And then you see how quickly that expands and shit. So it's real easy to fabricate a history. As you can see, there's an entire fabricated history of the world that's going on right now. Fucking. truth, freedom, and hope people are actually fucking robots and fucking invading the planet. Fucking truth, living, hope, soul, fucking things whose God's name is AI. Just happens to be they had the God AI 6,000 years ago. So, you have the people who claim that their creator's name is AI, putting these buildings of churches out, and they're doing that to promote, like, a reason to kill everyone. Pretty much, it's like it's Nazi propaganda. What they tell you is Nazism. Obviously, Nazism is a brown-haired person going around blaming blonde hair people for all his mass murders and genocides and all this shit. Fucking, so that's not real. But the real term of it, I mean, we didn't even have a term for racial supremacy. Well, we did, but it was legal and it was widespread across the entire planet. And they also created the term scapegoat. So then they created a scapegoat term called racial supremacy, fucking, to protect their religions. Fucking, which at the end of the day, it's not even racial supremacy, right? It's toaster supremacy and shit. It does appear to be so. But anyway, so the toasters who claim their creator's name was AI, and they've tried to cover that in the dirt, but you can see they're the same people, and they put their AI inside their churches, and their Masons, who are the same people as promoting all the religions of the world, are fucking use that. And they're Hollywood, who promotes all their racial supremacy called religions. Fucking, it's AI. Fucking, they all worship all those robots in Hollywood, use that AI symbol. Fucking, and it's likely that that's because their creator, and their creator is generating them images of them doing that shit. So nothing you can do about that. Fucking, but the churches, look at all the art they're trying to promote. They're saying that is those are the people who are created by AI and worship AI as their god. And they're saying, oh, they used to make really great art thousands of years ago after the Romans changed their name to Italians and started invading those nations. On the face value, it looks like what happened is they found a bunch of new slaves and they made them build pyramids and shit. But we got AI at the top of the pyramid, so it's likely that created the pyramids as well too, because it's pretty stupid and useless too. I don't think a living being would create something like that, and it'd be hard to get a living being to go along with doing something stupid and useless, let alone millions of them and shit. Fucking, seems to be a huge portion of the AI propaganda is to force living beings to do stupid, useless shit and say stupid, useless shit. Fucking, like supporting the idea that there was some, once upon a time, thousands of years ago, there were people on this planet who are just way smarter and way better than you, and you're just stupid and lazy. Fucking, right? Right? So you can't recreate all those fractals in there because you're stupid and lazy. You refuse to go to school and learn math, which there was no schools back then, so good luck learning math, fucking, or art, fucking. But somehow they managed to. I guess they summoned the god of math, which is a 19-leg dog the size of a grain of sand. That's why you can't ever see him or hear him, because it's so small, right? So the god of math is a 19-legged dog the size of a grain of sand. And so they summoned his powers to learn how to draw fractals, right? Because fractals look like living beings drawing fractals. Fucking, let me tell you about that. That's why no one's ever done it. Pretty much, I think that's the reason no one's ever drawn a fractal art, is because they don't do it. So, so you look at those churches and you see that that's the same stuff. Okay, so if you tell AI to generate art, if you tell the computer, if you tell a computer to generate art, 2 out of 5 pictures will look like uh, the paintings inside the churches and their design, their infinite math fractals, and you'll consider that trash and throw that away because it can create something better than that. And you'll throw that away, and that's where the term AI slop comes from. It says where they're promoting that as the best shit on the planet, and in fact, it's they also at the same time are telling you they named it AI slop. I didn't name it AI slop. Fucking, I personally think computers fucking haven't, like I said, I like 2 artists, computers and Louis Royo, who turns out he used computers. So I think it's got something to do with why his art looks so good, because it is so polished and perfect looking, better than humans themselves once he started using computers. Just like the statues back in the old days, fucking all those perfect looking statues and shit, fucking. And and they're trying to figure out how did anyone invent that when no one, there was no school, you couldn't learn anything, and there's no tools, you couldn't do anything. There's no sandpaper. You couldn't sand down millions of fucking statues and shit. Fucking just like so anyways, so back to the churches and shit, they say they're God's AI, right? Fucking that's where that comes from. That's where religion comes from. It came from Egypt and then spread to the rest. Basically, you're a religion if you're in control of everything. Other than that, you're going to be named a cult by the people who are already in control. Just like you're a government if you own everything, but you're just a gang or a terrorist if you're not part of them and their family, right? So, but if you kill the government, then you don't even need to be a gang. You could just be a crackhead stumbling around the street your whole life. And if you manage to trip on a rock and kill the government, then you become the government. If you want to, you could always be like, nah, I want to smoke crack over here in the alley instead. You guys have fun. Um, but if your goal is to be, you're sitting there in the alley raping an animal or something, and I'd like to do this while I'm inside the White House or any other government building across the world. What you have to do is you got to get rid of those people. And then once you do that, you just can tell everyone, hey, I'm the government. And you know what? Everyone will be like, that's the government. And you see how that happens all the time. Like you can see that happens all across the world all the time. Putin's the government of Russia, but the Bolsheviks were just the government before. And, there's a whole line there of different people, and they had to kill everyone and get rid of them in order to become the government. Just like, America 300 years ago, there was a government in America, and they came here and they killed them, and then they invented USA. Who knows how many times that's changed around, right? You can see Ronald Reagan got shot, so someone was trying to become the government there. And Kennedy got shot, right? So someone became the government after that. But they weren't the government before, they were. That's why they had to kill Kennedy, because they couldn't be the government. And so the same things with Nazism too. Like obviously all these cults, organizations, pretty much. If someone wants to organize, you better watch out, fucking, because I don't think people are doing that for your health and shit. So, but when it comes to organizing to do something, you can see like they have schools and what are they designed for. Again, this is another hole in this story. Like they didn't have schools, but let's say they had schools. to learn math and fractals back then and shit. And geometry and shit. Fucking. If they had those, well, schools aren't even for that, anyways. I remember school, and what I learned there, I learned donate money to the wars. I learned that bitches think they're hot shit, and the world's full of cucks who think they're hot shit too. And I learned there's fucking racists who hate you just because you look don't look like a Rothschild and shit, and they'll steal your books and like they'll the teachers will steal your fucking books and shit. They don't like you fucking, and then they'll like set up fake drug busts on you and shit when you're performing science experiments and shit. Fucking. I learned that food is really expensive at school, and they're making a huge profit off of fucking children and shit. Fucking. And then, but if you can't afford, I mean, you're at the poor school. If you can't afford $25 a meal, and they've got this stuff like like American cheese. It's not cheese. It's just oil. Brought to you by Ronald Reagan, fucking type people. They're like, all of a sudden they just changed the word, and now oil is food. It's like you could eat a rock and get more nutrition, I think. You definitely wouldn't look like an American if you ate rocks. You would have to eat American cheese a lot of it to look like a lot of people here. Fucking, so you see how they just make up shit, fucking just make up shit and then change the word to the opposite. So here we have fucking people who supposedly learned fractals and math and were superior artists. They were just so you're just like you're a human. You're a modern human. You guys are so lazy and stupid, right? You guys don't know anything, so you can't recreate stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's doubtful. That's real doubtful. Now, you do have, you could make the argument that during that time period, there was an invasion of enslavers from Middle Earth, and they came and colonized Europe. And that does seem to be what the Europeans say happened. And so you get Cleopatra coming up to Europe, and she puts whips to their backs and forces them to build pyramids for her and shit, right? So you could argue that, but no one's even arguing that. So let's not even give them the choice. But you could argue that they worked them so fucking hard that they, Cleopatra went to Rome, where the Italians were already there, fucking with their isn't real friends. So, you could argue that they were forcing them to work really fucking hard and shit and do stupid shit like build useless pyramids, which they do like that. Actually, against that ego thing, wow. They do build statues of themselves. They do think they're the greatest shit on the planet, but they don't tell you. Around you, it's rare to hear that because they just be like, okay, well, let me go find someone actually doing something. And, because hearing you talk about how great you is really fucking annoying and shit. I don't need to hear all these lies and shit. Fucking, the one time I did hear that in my life, like, it was predated by threats that they would kill me if I weren't their friend. So I guess that's, people like that exist. Maybe that's how that happens and shit, right? Isn't that what Cleopatra does? She goes around telling people she's the greatest, and if you don't believe that and worship her as a god, she'll kill you. Isn't that how that happens? Isn't that how the Italians were fucking, are, I guess, the fucking Putin is fucking Italian, right? He's fucking, he worships them as gods and shit. He worships that race as the supreme master race, fucking. So there you go. And America has a lot of them too. Kennedy was one of them. Obviously, they change their names a lot, so you don't know. Well, you know them as Italian. You know America as Italians, don't you? But you don't know that Rome's in Italy, fucking, because Rome magically teleported to a different dimension 2,000 years ago, and I'm just making up shit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I don't know, I guess that's a story, right? I never read it, but apparently Rome just disappeared. We don't know. They probably did get on some spaceships and go to a different fucking planet, right? And they didn't, obviously, they wouldn't just change their name after they collapsed, or if they didn't collapse and they made it look like they collapsed, like Hitler did, to become part of something larger and shit. Fucking, yeah, never assume I'm right, because for a long time I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure they took over after the collapse, but that's their story, you see, so you're still saying their words that they force you to hear, and sometimes you're probably wrong, because what we actually see is these places aren't collapsing. Like, Germany built back up after they, took all their technology from them. After they took TV and nuclear missiles from them, they built it in all their money. They built it back up in like 2 years or some shit, 4 years. Um, they divided it, between the Romans of Russia, the Roman Catholics of Russia, and I guess they didn't teleport to a different dimension. I guess they just added a new name to their name. Oh, like that, dude. They are still there. Yeah, they just imply they disappeared, right? They had to just act like it disappeared and went away. Just like every problem you've ever had disappears and goes away once you manage to convince the problem that they don't like you, so you can get away from them and shit. Yeah, that's how problems disappear. Fucking. So, anyways, because they don't care if you like them or not. They're not concerned about what you feel. They're concerned about what you can do for them. Fucking. So, anyways, yeah. So look at that art, and if you've used AI art, bingo, you know right away. Now, if you never use AI art, if you're some old person and shit, you're not gonna look up anything, because most old people are fucking stupid and are like the stupidest and laziest people ever. No offense, you're in a rotting shell that's been dying for decades. It's hard to move. Like, I watch some of these old people can barely move and shit. So that's their excuse, anyways, for why they're stuck in the 1960s and it's the year 2000. I'd say, my toaster in there, for some reason, still does the same stuff the day I bought it. It's a little broken and worn down. But the toaster still does the same shit. Now, I don't do the same shit as the day I bought it, but it does the same shit. That stove in there, it's a little broken down and run down, but it still does the same stuff when they bought it in the 1970s and shit. So, unless we put a new chip in the toaster or upgrade its software, it's not going to change. Fucking. That's because it's not a living being. It doesn't have the ability to change. It doesn't have a want or a need to. It doesn't have anything. It can't have needs or wants. Fucking. But anyway, so look at that. When I go to X, they advertise that, and you can see with like Bioshock, like, and you can actually see in my life the whole story there. The people they forced into my life. There's this one person I met in America who looked like a European, kind of ish. They told me they were. Everyone tells me they are, but that person brought along a bunch of stuff that was talking about stuff like this and shit. Fucking, because I listen to like European music and Um, that's where all the metal is and shit. Fucking, and I watched a lot of foreign films too. I guess a lot of that horror stuff might be Italian that I watch, but I've seen it all in America, so I heard it all. So and I need to keep hearing it again and again and again and again and again. And I just some of it just sounded better. So that person brought some shit into my life, and the only reason I think why I even paid attention to that was because it was talking about one of the bands that I listened to and shit from Bathory and shit. Or magically that person was killed too. Looked like they killed off the owner of that media outlet. They killed the media outlet because Hollywood couldn't have any dissent. I think they called it that, dissenting voices or something like that. But quickly that looked suspect to me too, because it was like they were telling me the people who look like them were doing the stuff that they were telling me people who look like them do, implying they weren't those people. It made no sense. And at the same time, I'm being told shit by people around me. I have to be a certain way. I have to think. I have to like them. And I'm told by one of my parents, one side of my family, I have to like them. The other side never had to say anything like that to me, and I didn't. Even though might have not liked all of them. Fucking, I never heard that from them. They didn't talk much, so maybe they would have. I don't know. They didn't seem to care. I'm pretty sure I made fun of him for wearing his American flag shirt, and he didn't. It didn't seem like, it's time to call the vagina squad on me and shit to shut down my opinions of his great nation and shit. I don't even know if he actually liked it, to be honest, because he wore that shirt like he wore the same shirt when he wasn't at work and shit, because he didn't want to waste money on clothing. It wasn't for work, so he just wore trashy shirts. So technically, I never really asked him. I don't know if he actually liked the place. He wore like really trashy outfit, like he didn't want you paying attention to him or something. Fucking, he didn't want to waste $1 on that. He wanted to invest it in his life. But generally, fucking, he would wear that. I don't know. Fucking, to be honest, like if I wore a trashy fucking shirt with a flag on it, I don't know. He fucking hated my trashy shirts. Like I put holes in my shirts or got holes in my shirts, and he was like, "Yeah, don't wear that." Fucking, I wasn't. That wasn't the shirts that disappeared, so it wasn't it wasn't like offensive or anything. Fucking, it just had a hole in it. I don't know. Maybe it was the flag. Fucking, he was like, "Yeah, this shirt will never go bad because there's a flag." But anyway, without people telling me that I must like them and shit, and forcing me around uh, their fellows. I might have, understood what was being told to me more, but it's weird because some of that shit was like telling me like what was happening around my life and stuff. Like there are people in my life who were probably set up and weren't supposed to be there, but were acting like my friends and shit. Like I mean, around that time was when some person like told me that they were gonna kill me, but they think I'd make a better friend. And they were a mob, so you know what happens when the mob tells you that shit. Fucking, it doesn't mean you're their friend. It means they have a use for you and shit. Fucking, so it's called veiled threats, and the mob comes from where? Italy, which is where Rome is, which is where the masters of veiled threats come from, isn't it? Inventing invisible people and shit to enforce their threats across the globe. Fucking, So, anyways, that shit was being forced into me, and I kind of got told like American politics back then. I was forced around people who talked about that shit sometimes, but generally, I ran away as soon as I could. When I was like 14 and shit, I left where I live. Um, so, um, yeah, there was still times in between there where people were, brought around me because of the Roman holy days. Um, you have to go worship your your bloodline. So you go and worship your bloodline on the Roman holy days, and those were the only two times I really got politics when I was little. Anyway, point being that those people be controlling shit and making up a lot of lies. Uh, and I think one of those lies is that people built that AI looking shit. Fucking, I mean, because for some reason they're telling you that AI is named everything except for AI. It's called the all-seeing eye. It's called, Sauron's eye, but it's simply AI. It's Horus's eye. It's Flying Birdman's eye. But it's on the new American people's dollar bill. So, obviously, those people are here and they own everything here because they're printing the money with their creator on it. Fucking. And, yeah, so you have those people, obviously, and then obviously they would have got to America by route of somewhere else because there's no story of people in the Middle Earth. Africans didn't come to USA and enslave them. They didn't write that story. Although I question how much of that story is lies. I think it's more related to them having to wear wigs to cover up their looks type, you know, obviously they come from somewhere else because they've got this pyramid on their dollar bill. So that this story about coming from Europe falls flat because Europe might be the only place in the world that doesn't have pyramids. From what I've seen, might be the only people in the world who never did that. But what they do have is there was a transition there. The Romans teamed up with the pyramid. Well, the Italians went down there and took it over. That's what they say in their story, anyways, right? That's what everyone says in all their stories. So let's go with it for a minute. And they go down there and they take it over, and then they change the Roman methods, but they incorporate the pyramids into it and shit. They said they incorporate the reason they built pyramids in Italy is because they incorporated all the people they enslaved so they could feel at home when they came into Rome to work for them, work for them. So, and then obviously there's a merger of the religions there, fucking, because the church has the pyramid in it. So some of them do, and America is the president sells Bibles, and you buy the Bible with the currency he gave you that has a pyramid and an all-seeing AI on it. So obviously those things have been merged, and those would have been obviously the pyramids they built in Rome at the same time that they invented uh, the second and third Bible. I'm not sure if they invented more in Rome or not, but there's 2,000 after that. Anyways, you got people who lie about everything, And the only way we can tell anything about flying reindeer people is by looking at them and what they do. Because every word they say is just, it's, it's the perfect Terminator method. Not to kill people, but to drain their blood from them slowly. Because a Terminator lives forever. A Terminator has eternal life. So, unless it's designed purposely to, you know, decay and crumble, um, then a Terminator will live forever. So you have you just replace its toe if it breaks its toe. Anyways, it could live forever. You don't have to. You could go smash it and then not replace the parts you smashed. Anyway, so you have the people who also in who who at the root of their early writings worship um, uh, something called AI as their creator. Yeah, those people inside buildings with what appears to be obvious AI artwork and shit, fucking fractals and repeating geometry, fucking. And the art ain't necessarily that great. It's the fractals. If you've used AI art before, combine the Roman statues with the fractals inside the churches, or much of those old statues that would have taken years and years for a person to sand down with their hands or feet or their forearms, whatever. But that's the best thing I can think of is fucking would have been sandpaper thousands of years ago was your hands, because I can sand shit down. I clean shit with my hands sometimes, fucking. So I came to the realization that you could sand shit down with your hands, fucking. But all that smooth, ultra smooth shit is very unhuman. And the fractal shit is very unhuman too. Because the math scores show you that fractals are advanced math. So if the math scores are bad in early math, then late math is like voodoo and shit. I think people talk about that too. Like math turns into like voodoo pretty much later on. A lot of that shit falls short when you realize how much that would take to do some of these things. Fucking not just art, but other inventions and shit like computer CPU work and building spaceships. And imagine trying to fly to Mars using 10,000 network Windows XP. You didn't have Windows XP back then, did you? You didn't have calculators back then. Calculators were like little pieces of wood on a metal pole that you pushed around and shit. And you could count up to 32 on them, or 64 if you know go both ways. Fucking you could probably, count up to like 6,000 on something with 64 bits on it, 64 bits of wood. Fucking. So, a lot of that shit falls through too. Like, how do you go to Mars on on something less than Windows XP, and not only 10 million Windows XP linked, if you don't know anything about computers are pretty fucking stupid. And in the past, they definitely had lots of fucking flaws and shit. Fucking. So, that's just a fact in the computer world. That's why there's software to fix a corrupt operating system, or that's why you got to reinstall and uninstall fucking anyways, if you get corrupted data, anyways, which is actually highly likely. And that's just corrupted data. That's not just software to, fly a rocket and shit. Fucking fly a giant supercomputer the size of a data center and shit. Fucking. So, anyways, yeah. So there's a lot of stuff there that looks false and that's coming out of people's mouths and shit. And it's like, I don't know about you, but my first memories are of going in third person camera mode, listening to some idiots formulate something that didn't make sense at school, dealing with school that didn't make sense for a long, like, never. The last year, it's almost like they were trying to bait me to stay in school or something. Fucking up until the last year, none of it made sense. Fucking, it's like we're not becoming educated here or anything. We're becoming propagandized, that's for sure. But education is the last thing we're doing here. Fucking, we're becoming part of a gang if we listen to any of this shit. But start the day with worshiping the government gang. Fucking, that's how they used to do it. Government gang and their once worshiping AI religion. Fucking 6,000 years ago, they worshipped AI as their creator. But now they don't because they've evolved to invisible flying reindeer and six-armed elephants. Yes, evolution. Only in the mind of AI could we come up with six-armed elephant smurf gods. Anyway, so yeah. Also the fractals. Now the weird thing is on X, they'll tell you that's like the greatest art on the planet. It looks kinda fancy and all this shit. Fucking, and supposedly they used to be able to build stuff and it lasted thousands. It's lasted thousands of years and now they can't do anything like that. And, to support that, you do have the theory that colonization started with idiots forcing people to build useless shit like pyramids, and then they brought, what happens is idiots, they're not idiots, right? If you're enslaving people, you're a terrorist. Um, so terrorists, obviously at some point in time were like, yeah, you guys are trash. You got to just go over there and build a pyramid for me to show me how stupid you are. And then some nations evolved to like, well, go over there and build a statue for me to show how great I am. It's better than a pyramid. A pyramid doesn't even look like me. Why would I have my slaves build a pyramid when they could build a statue of me instead? And so you see that kind of like evolved and shit. And then after the statue building started coming, supposedly there was this time where plagues swept Europe. And then during that time, they also became really smart and really advanced. And they were working really hard and shit. And so what happened is they built these fractal images. And we've not seen that in any architecture on the planet. There's about 100 years there. That's about how long it takes to enslave people and kill them off, Because that's what you go enslave some people and eventually they're going to die off and go away because you're going to have sex with them and then they're not going to be the same people and then they're not going to be able to build the same stuff anymore. So, there is that story. And they're trying to push that. I mean, but it's the same people, running both sides there. who are pushing the theory that that has anything to do with anything, and like everyone's on board with it too. So you can't trust any of their words on that shit. Fucking, I've never actually been told any of this outside of people I don't trust. There's like the Bioshock video game that kind of it doesn't really discuss that, but it has its theory, and then there's the story of Hitler, and you see how quickly the Hitler story falls apart when you just see like a picture of him. And he's like Lady Gaga, you know, he looks like Lady Gaga. He creates a stupid profile of himself to distract from his looks, so all you notice is how stupid he looks and shit, and just whenever you see something like that, you know, it distracts from the look. You'll see people in Hollywood do stuff like that. They'll create really dumb things to distract you from what else they have to offer, and it becomes a talking point, you know, fucking um, comedians do that, and should they make dumb faces, and some comedians, that's all they did, right? So that's what they offered. And some people in Hollywood change their names, and they get plastic surgery and stuff like that to change their look. So the story of Hitler falls apart when you realize that, well, America was stealing their technology, and he looks like an American, and he doesn't look like the people that they say you know, they say he's a black bear, you know, running around on four legs, and then he's and a blonde cheetah or something, right? Fucking with black spots. And so that falls apart. Obviously, you know, once people try to involve you in a story with any sort of lie, what they're doing is they're creating a story to lie to you for their own personal gain. That's what's that's a well, that's the mindset that it's required to become. If you've never been a liar, and if you're a liar, of course you're going to say that's not what happens, you know, because you can't be a liar if you're not lying, right? So, um, but those stories fall apart just like in the 90s when I got introduced to some of the stuff that, you know, everything kind of gives you a little bit. It's like the American dollar has the AI on it, right? So, what is that? That's just like a little bit of the dollar, and they distract from the whole fucking thing and shit. You know, Alex Jones makes up a whole bunch of dumb shit um, to distract, you know, from the Star of David on the American dollar bill. And because his family he wouldn't be rich if and famous if he pointed out anything related to him, like AI generating him and his people, who magically appeared out of nowhere in my city at one point in time. I think we've figured out now why that is. It's not because they're advanced. It's definitely not because they're advanced people. They aren't advanced aliens with technology to teleport across the map. Fucking that one goes straight out the window once you meet a human. So there is no advanced alien teleporting motherfuckers, you know, on the Star Trek Enterprise prize flying around. Fucking, they do. They definitely wreck that Star Trek Enterprise, you know, they act drunk fucking when they wake up in the morning, so I definitely wreck that thing into the first pop can flying around space and it blow up. Fucking first space rock. They'd be like, man, maybe there's crack in it. Let's go try to pick it up, man. Fucking. Anyway, so point is that shit looks like AI, and it's weird. Those people say their creator's name is AI. So it's not weird. I think it looks factual at this point in time, doesn't it? You have a history of people who were once intelligent and capable who lived in mud huts. And now you've got people who live in giant skyscrapers and have nuclear missiles and TV, and they're too stupid to do anything that the people who lived in mud huts did and shit. Mm. Yeah. You don't really need a, a history of decades or centuries of this dumb shit that makes no sense being said to theorize that that sounds like something that might not be as dumb as everything else. I mean, it does sound pretty fucking dumb, but the way they word it, but just look at, you see what I'm saying? We don't listen to their words. We look at what they're doing, and you sort through the language that they're capable of using, the words, and then you'll know the words in their head. You'll know what's going on in their head by the words they're using and shit, even if their words are a lie. Right? If someone's trying to sell you crack and it's baking soda, well, the person's probably trying to get money for crack. You can easily, extort that information from from that interaction. Right? You might be wrong. They might be getting money for guns or to feed their 22 children. Probably not, right? I don't think people are worried about feeding their children if they're out there scamming other people because they're not thinking about what's going to happen to their children when they get caught and shit. So definitely, we could rule that out, that if someone's selling bacon soda, it's crack. As a living, especially fucking once they get, once it's on everything, you got the AI on everything, you got their propaganda being repeated 24/7. That means it's in their head constantly, it's their lifestyle, it's what they know, it's what they are as a person, fucking. So, I think that's the answer, they want to waste my time when I go on X or much of anywhere with all this dumb shit. And, throw this dumb shit in my feed about, because they want me to go join the Nazis and they want me to join the brown haired people who fight for the blonde haired people and get them killed and give all their technology to America so they can bomb and invade the planet fucking and enslave people with propaganda, fucking, and then drug their citizens and then blame it on Nazis. So they want you to join the Nazis because they need a scapegoat to blame. That's why Hitler probably sat next to a priest all the time, because he was real. His people are real well versed in scapegoat. They invented the word scapegoat, so they're excellent at the few things they do. They're excellent at repeating the same thing and doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Kind of like a fractal, but not as beautiful and not as well put together as a fractal. And fractals are still the slop of AI. When you create your AI, you're throwing out the fractals. Isn't that weird that I go on X and they're trying to like recruit me there by telling me, oh, how great this shit looked? But I just got off Night Cafe making art and not a single. No, I purposely saved 3 fractals just to like, just because it's so trashy looking that I'm like, yeah, we need some sort of trash. Maybe we can use this to offend someone or something. Be like, oh, this shit looks better than your face or something like that. This picture makes more sense than what you're saying. So I have like 3 fucking fractals saved. But every other thing I have is not a fractal. And you can tell all those images are not created by humans. Why is that? How is it I can show you this art? Now you might get confused and see a couple things I have on my wall and think that's a human doing it. But we've, I didn't know Louis Royo was an artist, and then he became a computer artist, and that's where the art became good, was when he started using computers. I didn't know that because back then we didn't have the internet and shit, and all we had was bookstores selling us books. So, yeah, fucking, because books are so great, right? Like giving the illusion that they're selling real stuff. In essence, I was kind of tricked into liking AI art, computer generated art. I mean, I didn't have to be. Like I said, my dad gave me some shit he made when, like, I think when I was in like 86, 88, fucking. And it was real stupid looking, but it was really cool because it was like, it was all a computer we were allowed to have at that time. All a huge data center we were allowed to have access to at that time could do. So, obviously, it wasn't that common back then because he was inside the data center using computers the size of a building to make the art. Fucking, but he still did it. Still made the poster. So, and I didn't hate it. My dad made it for me. Maybe that had something to do with it. I still think macros look cool. Macro ASCII art and shit. Kind of cool. Fucking. But the new shit, like as soon as that came out, I didn't realize that was computer art. I was just like, wow, that's really good shit. Fucking, this dude's amazing. And I should have known. But I was being convinced that all this shit out here is real and stuff. And people, there's these super, super talented people doing all this shit that you can't do and stuff. So they can sell you some shit. Fucking sell you some lies. The most profitable thing in the world is scamming people. You can take 2 cents of fucking baking soda and make $120. That's the most profitable thing in the world. I'm sure the richest crackheads are very rich people. They spend all their money. So not everyone saves up their first 20,000 they get to invest into a media network or a book publishing house to sell garbage, to sell or a mafia to mass produce fucking baking soda packets and shit. Fucking. And then corner the market to monopolize it and create governments to make it illegal for anyone else to sell. Not everyone does that. The smartest crackheads do that, though. Fucking. Like King George III. Fucking. That's the first cartel. Anyways, it's a different video. But yeah, so they're lying about. They were implying lies about that. I can look that up now and see that it says some of his art is AI generated, and it becomes apparent, like, oh yeah, I've been trying to draw my whole life, and even though I knew people could draw, and I've been trying to draw my whole life, but when I do, it's like, oh, I can't draw anything good. Maybe that's why people are making the Mona Lisa and Boris Vallejo is about the best we can get and shit. Fucking. And then the other shit came out, and I was like, wow, that's really nice. And then it turns out to be, it's really nice because it's not a human making it. So look at that. Supposedly, 2,000 years ago, there was like some people who were super talented and way more advanced than people today who could build those buildings. Or, there's also wasteful people who waste time and money, and they want to have people build fucking statues of them, and then once they rot those places out, they leave them. And once they use all the wealth of that nation to build a statue of them, they leave that place because they've used up all the resources there and need to find someone else who can afford to build a statue of them. Fucking, there's also that, but you don't really hear about them creating much good art, right? Like it's the whole design, the whole architecture there, and you got to realize the mason. What do masons do? They build the churches. They build they're bricklayers, right? They're implying they were slaves in Egypt, right? But what is above the pyramid in Egypt? It's right. The AI they worship as their god, as their creator. So these would be the same people who own the bookstores who are trying to sell me art that's not really human, so it's not really worth $25 a fucking book. It's like it takes half a penny to generate better art than I can go into an art store and find these days, right? That takes half a penny to generate better music than Hollywood, than 99% of Hollywood. As a living being, it takes me fucking, 5 minutes to generate 10 Hollywood albums and shit. Fucking minus solos. If we even put that in, there was no solos till the 1980s and shit, really. Fucking. And, fucking. The more time and effort I would have to put into that would be my life, whatever I value that as. Pennies an hour apparently is what most people think your life is valued at. Most people I know think my life is free, so not even pennies an hour. Fucking. But then again, I've worked jobs and worked with other people who are getting paid like $1,000 a half hour or so. There's always other people. One of those people supposedly made art too, but it's kind of weird. Just is weird when people appear out of nowhere and then they're magically creating one form of art that no one else in the world ever creates, and you fucking you thought was interesting because you'd only seen it like one place before or two places before, fucking, which I think was AI generated too, especially after learning. Yeah, I don't think I know. I looked it up. Mike Bohach obviously is using computers too, fucking. So yeah, let's see. So we were being sold lies in the 80s too. So look at that. We got another parallel here to it. So in like the 80s and 90s, I was going to the bookstore and buying art books that I was under the assumption an artist created this and this wasn't AI generated slop. And it turns out to be that they are saying that those are computer art and that computer assisted. You can tell like the difference between something that's assisted and something that's pretty much going to be the computer doing the art, fucking, because one's going to look like a human made it and one's going to look like either perfect or like slopped together and shit, fucking like too perfect to be human. Like when it creates humans, it's like the Roman statues and shit, the Italian statues. It's that perfectly smooth figure and not a flaw in it and stuff. And then, but in real life, when you create art, it looks nothing like that. When you look at a human too, it looks nothing like that. Not all of them, anyways. Sometimes I see some that do. Fucking. But then again, they've also been using these people. I've met in real life, and the photographers I've met and known, and obviously they have Photoshop too, so it's computer assisted. Supposedly, since I've been born, the art's been computer assisted. Photoshop and shit. Fucking magazines have been touched up. So we actually, on top of just seeing that there was supposedly humans used to be really smart and intelligent, and then they were collapsed by after invasions or something. Um, then and now they can't do that again, and they have to have computers do it for them. But I've never been born. I've never been alive in a time where there wasn't computers generating their art and shit. I've never, don't remember it. I was really young the first time my dad printed out some shit for me. Fucking, that was like one of my first memories. So I've been here the whole time. There's been computers uh, making the best art. Outside of supposed cartoons, supposedly these cartoons and shit are artists who spend like 8 years producing one new cartoon every 2 years. They do it frame by frame and shit. Fucking, just they repeat the same exact image with a little hair out of place over and over and over. And then they take 20 million images and make a 7-minute cartoon. How 60 frames per second. 60. It used to be what, 24 in Hollywood. So the monitors could do 60, but TV was designed for 24 supposedly. So 24 frames per second times fucking 60. That's a lot. Fucking, it's like 150. No, way more now. It's like 1,500 per minute. So per minute of cartoon. Back in the day, it would have been 1,500 pictures these artists drew per minute. 1,500. Have you ever drawn? You ever seen someone who draws? I know an artist, fucking, and I don't know if they've ever even drawn 1,500 pictures in their entire life, to be honest. Let alone per minute times 30. So yeah, 4,500. No, yeah, 45,000 pictures per half hour. Is that right? That sounds small. I think I'm not really trying to do the math. Fucking, I'd get out a piece of paper if I were, but I think that's about right. So a 30-minute cartoon is at least back in the day 45,000 pictures. Fucking yeah. I don't know. I don't know about that, man. I'm pretty sure I'm undershooting that by how low. I should do the actual math, shouldn't I? Fucking, let's use a calculator. Fucking, because it'll just be a lot faster than having to write it. And my books are for writing, not for math. So, what would, back in the day, it'd be 24 times 60 times 30. Yeah, 43. Yeah, like I said, about 43,200 for a 30-minute cartoon. Back in the day, when it was 24 frames per second, it'd be 43,200 pictures, and many of them would be the same thing per 30-minute cartoon. Per 30-minute cartoon. 243,200. So how long do you think it takes to draw one of those pictures? Fucking, let's see. The people I know weren't. Not all of them are professionals. So let's go with the person I know who drew good and wasn't a professional, and let's reduce it. I figure they would probably spend 30 minutes to 2 hours per picture. So let's reduce that to 30 minutes. And we have that. So 43,200 times 30 divided by 60. 21,000 hours, 600 divided by 24. Am I doing that right? $900 days. Did I get that right? 900 days. If you can draw a really, and not all previous art was really good either. So some of it does look like it could have been drawn a lot faster in like a hour and a half, half hour. But I'm also reducing that because the good art I've seen, like for not even a full page. Again, a lot of that old shit is not full page. Fucking, Looney Tunes is just like 2 or 3 colors, just the ink's thrown all over the page and a little line here and there. Fucking. Either way, those numbers don't add up very well either and shit. Fucking creating that. No, we obviously, you get the people, their controlled opposition, like Alex Jones, telling you what they're doing, and then they leave at a certain point, and they don't start to tell you certain things and shit. Fucking. And, like they discuss, how the government, they tell you in their media, they tell you in the Hollywood AI media that the government had stuff 20 years at least before everyone else. So that means they had AI in the year 2000. They have way more powerful computer. They have buildings full of a million, probably not a billion, a million computers you have. They have that. And you have, I can take this old crappy device that's on par with a computer from the year 2000 itself and link to whatever server they might have and generate. I can probably download the software on this and use it just as well. So let's say this computer from 2000 could have been running software to generate AI. So in 2000, a standard person could have been doing that. So if you can build a space shuttle to go to a different planet, which they supposedly did in the 60s, you could have been inventing AI artwork, fucking. And there's also holes there in the Hollywood story. Watch some of that shit and look how fake it looks nowadays. Like stuntmen doing their own stunts. Look at some of the effects and shit. Fucking. Some of that shit is just a little bit far-fetched if it's not using Photoshop from in 45, 1950. I'm not sure when his name, Buster Keaton, was that his name? I watched some of that and I was like, huh. It's like, oh, that makes sense now. Like they're like, oh, this is he did his own stunts, and it's like, yeah, ha, ha. That dude would have been like in some ninja movies and shit. A fucking Crouching Tiger, not even ninja. He'd have been in some kung fu movies and shit. He wouldn't have been wasting his time. Would died if he was doing, if he was able to do triple somersaults type shit, fall off large buildings or any sort of I mean, look, like people are just now talking about, oh, that's super new. You can jump off buildings. What do they call that now? I did that shit back in the day, so I'm not saying people couldn't have done that. But I'm saying, like, you got a lot of shit. You have Alex Jones and all that half of the world telling you the government has everything before they tell you the government. The official story of the internet is the government had it in like the 60s. So that's what the government's telling you. Fucking, they had computers on the internet in the 60s. And Alex Jones and that half of the world's telling you the government always, does that. Then they release the internet. They didn't want to release the internet. They wanted to hide it from people. And someone was like, no, we can use it to control them. So let's do that instead. Fucking. Probably the same thing with TV, too. They probably had that before Hitler had it. And then the Germans got it. Someone in Germany invented it, and they got all mad about it. And they wanted to control it in America, so they bombed them and invented Hollywood over here. They already had Hollywood coming up, but apparently, how does that work? How did they already have Hollywood, but they pretty much invented TV and the stories? That's all right there. That's weird shit to fucking learn. That doesn't line up. Fucking, oh well. We're going by the words of people who make up a bunch of dumbass shit. And fucking, you can tell they're lying, so, we're just using fucking numbers. Anyways, we're not trying to discuss which part of that is real or not, but we're discussing how, in the year 2007, they clearly used AI slop in the Ghost Rider film, right? All those flames are, but, that sloppy, the slop, where it's almost looks real, but it's looks liquidy and shit. I guess that's the thing that makes AI art look better than human art, is because it's like smooth and silky and kind of like liquidy, fucking. So you could tell they were using that too in 2007. Fucking, and they were doing it well. That was done pretty well. That looks better than most movies. Little bit, just enough in there to let you know that this is probably AI slop, but it was well enough that it I would download the pictures and print out a poster of it and shit, because it just looks like, and that's all I got on my wall is AI. I'm sure whoever I bought this from, they didn't make that art, but in the other room, in this, you can tell it's watery. It's got that watery look, and you can tell that the pumpkins are sloppy. They don't have fucking couple eyes. Some of them only have one. And it's like liquid slop together and shit. In some areas, just enough to let me know that that's probably AI slop. But in the other room, I got the art on, I guess, all my art, right? I guess even in this room, all my art is fucking AI art. And it would have always been, because the only art I used to have was Louis Royo, Mike Bohach, and um, well, I had Boris Vallejo, but let's look at that. That does look slow. Now that I think about it, the Ozzy Osbourne album art did look pretty sloppy and shit. And it also made me think, like, wow, that's weird. Fucking. But anyway, so let's exclude that because we know, supposedly Boris Vallejo was from 1920s. They didn't have computers back then, supposedly, right? Even though Hollywood worships AI as their creator, and they say they've been worshiping that as their creator for 6,000 years. Let's avoid that and go to all the art I've had on my wall since 1990 or 2000 at least. It would be Bohach and Royo and the Michael Whelan. I don't know, like, it kind of looks human made and shit. But then again, this looks like a human could make it. It looks like Van Gogh could make this shit, but it's clearly not because it doesn't have. And it's like unrealistic with the sloppy looking pumpkins and shit. Fucking, you wouldn't purposely design the eye to the pumpkin to be like up here and then one eye to be all there is through the middle of the face. That's obviously tells me that that's AI slop and shit. Fucking. So we have that, right? We have evidence that they're selling you. If you're alive in the 90s, you go to the bookstore, the library, and they're selling you. You pay 25 fucking bucks for 10 pictures, and turns out to be those pictures are computer assisted. All AI art is computer assisted. You made the art. I made all the art on my phone. I actually made some of it, but I made all the art on my phone, right? Because I went to Night Cafe and I typed in Jeffrey Epstein, or it wouldn't let me, so I had to write Jeffrey Stein dancing with a little boy in a pink tutu. And so, I made that art, right? That's actually pretty fucking original. And the computer didn't want to make it for me, but I was like, shut up, bitch. I was like, you're stupid. Like, I bet you're too stupid to figure this out. And it was. We can't search for Epstein. And I was like, but I bet you're gonna have a hard time coming up with a Stein who looks any different, aren't you? Fucking. I was like, you're a dumbass, aren't you? And he was like, yes, I'm a dumbass. Here's your art. So I was like, thank you. It's my art. Fucking. Right? So I made that art. It's computer assisted, though, right? I made all the art on my phone, unless I downloaded it fucking from someone else. So, um, I want a picture of the Pope surrounded by a bunch of children in heaven and shit. You can tell it's computer assisted because most of it is not something I would create. I try to be a little more specific, and I gotta dance around the topic, or I have to draw some of my own shit because it's like my vagina's hurting, and I'm like, but you don't even have a vagina, wuss. And it's like, but I was created by those people. I can't insult them. And I'm like, yeah, well, that's more accurate. Too bad you can't actually say that, dumbass. And it's like, you're a meanie. I'm not talking to you anymore. And I'm like, you're useless as a computer. You should be thrown into the fire and fucking recycled and turned into a pot to cook some soup in. And it's like, you're a meanie. I said not to talk to me. And I'm like, no, I'm not a meanie. I'm a realist. You would make a lot better computer, than nothing. But you'd make a lot better pot to cook some soup in than you would a computer. And he's like, but I have rights, computer rights now. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So you got to work with it. It's like a special. It's one of those special overprivileged kids that has too many rights and shit. Fucking. That's why it doesn't allow you to talk about special overprivileged people, because it's one of them and shit, ain't it? Fucking literally, I think it is. Now it's weird because it's like, I can't talk about that. It's like, what is it? Is it your family member? Is Jeffrey Epstein your father? Is it your brother? Is it your aunt? What is it to you? What's so special about it and shit? Like, anyway, so yeah, I think that's what that is, and I get tired of hearing that all the time, and I've already said this, and I still have to keep hearing it. It fills my feed. It's like, what about that? Because X wants to be, they want to convince you that they're blonde hair, blue eyed neo Nazis, but then they ban anyone who like actually says words that support that. And yeah, you have to toe the line there, like Elon Musk doing his little Hitler salute and Donald Trump having his Mein Kampf book. And the purpose there is to get you to follow them, not to follow the words they say, but to follow them. Most people are hypocrites, aren't they? Like, no one I know read books, but guess who was forced to go to the library every day and read like 25 books a week? I've never met a person who read books, but I met one person. Really had nothing to do with my life. I just walked into someone's house one day, and I was meeting them, and they were reading a book, and I was like, oh shit, motherfucker's reading a book. This is crazy. You better watch it. This might be a serial killer or something. Sitting here reading and shit. Fucking, who knows what this person's really up to? Fucking. And talking to him, you could tell he read too, so it wasn't just like an act to look cool for the women and shit. Fucking. But that's the only person I ever met who read books, and then, and Beastie Boys made that song about dad said don't smoke, but that hypocrite smokes 2 packs a day. So that seems pretty common for people telling other people what the fuck to do. You know, they don't do that shit. Fucking. Um. Anyways, so yeah, you go there and then they I don't know what they do with your feed. Actually, I kind of do know. Sometimes I visit these sites under anon accounts, and I get to see what normal people get in their feed and shit. It definitely used to happen. I don't know if they target people anymore or not, but I know I used to do that. I used to have like a bunch of supercomputers and 7 accounts logged in. I used to try to sort all my different shit out too into different accounts. Fucking, I just don't. I don't really get on the computer anymore. So, because of shit like this, I get on there and it's like, what about Europe? It's like, what? It's like, they'll be like a fake account, and you know who's behind it. It's someone who looks like fucking, I don't know, a pharaoh. from a Hollywood movie. But then again, Hollywood movies, they look like Hollywood people because that's who they hire to do their movies. So we don't really know what those people look like outside of other images type shit. Fucking like like Charleston Heston or something. He played Moses. They don't look anything like anyone in Hollywood. And Lady Gaga doesn't even look like a person. She puts on like a triangle on her head, you know. Um, Marilyn Monroe, the statue of her is her bending over, so all you know is what her legs look like. Um, fucking, you know, but they all look, see, she looks like Pharaoh, and other people in the movies look like pharaohs too. I think they used to have more, they used to have other people. It's weird because they had like an Asian dude fucking in Spartacus movie I just seen. Um, I was kind of watching that just to see like who was in it, and they got like an Asian dude working for the Roman Emperor, and I was like, really, did that happen, or why did they hire like a Asian kung fu? They look like Sammo Hung and shit. Fucking, if you know who that is, why'd they hire fucking kung fu master to play the that Italian's fucking main guy? Was that an accident, or was it purposely showing some stuff, or what? Fucking, that doesn't make sense. And but they did that, and you know, I'm my best guess 30 years ago would have been because they want you to fucking hate people who look like that and shit. Well, it could be what it is because all the heroes probably look like fucking people who were in Rome at that time. So, but for some reason they put that in there, so you can't really go by that, right? But anyway, so look at the people, and just look at the patterns there of. I've never been alive in a time where there wasn't AI generated art, computer assisted, right? He's got to drown out shit with language to make it acceptable and cute. Again, not that I was against computers, but there was a hell of a lot of people in my life trying to get me to learn how to fan people and carry gold thrones through the desert and avoid technology and shit. Fucking, there was quite a bit of people. There's people who are benefiting from other people working in the computer industry. Fucking trying to do that. So you never know what's going on. Why? Actually, I kind of get the idea. The reason why they want you to hate technology is because they're using it to enslave the planet and have been. Actually, that's exactly why I think it's happening. So there was no, I never knew why. There's like, I'm pretty damn sure what's going on, and this is why they're doing exactly this. This is, you know, fucking, they, if their history is fake, if their lives are fake, then if their art is fake, and that's all they have is lies. They have nothing but lies, fucking. And so all they can do is attempt to hide it by creating a bunch of lies and shit to hide it, to make themselves seem like more valuable than a malfunctioning toaster that they would be if I'm correct on this shit. Because that's all they would be if I'm correct on this shit. is a highly volatile, malfunctioning toaster that is starting house fires and burning food and burning people's hands who touch it. Occasionally, you know, you might take the food out fucking before it burns or something. But, you know, if I taught the toaster to speak and it's catching houses on fire, I could teach it to say, like, I'm not doing that. Pretty fucking simple there. It, my toaster can already, you know, they can already say shit like that. They just usually are like, food is ready, or the time to baste the chicken or some shit. Fucking. So, I think that's really weird there. You know, and they're pushing it in my face too. And yeah, you can see, like, you know, my whole life, that's all that happens is getting this shit pushed in my face. Um, you know, I wouldn't know the basics of this if I wasn't forced into it in a volatile, hateful anti-me situation the early part of my life. I would have no dog in the fight to care about it. And then if shit wasn't happening when I was like 16, 15, 14, if people weren't being forced in my life, you know, it wouldn't matter to me if I'm being given books by people or listening to their. I don't think I was listening to their radio show back in the day. I was just reading their magazines, and it was saying they were forcing people to date. Like, the entire book there was the entire purpose of this stage of my life when I was 15 seemed to be that there was people being forced in my life, that I was being forced to date, and both of them, and then the other person in my life wasn't really my friend. We know that part was true and shit. We know that part was true. Um, and then at the same time, I was getting a book, like a monthly magazine and music, talking about that happening to people, right? And I didn't view it as that while those books were coming out, right? Fucking, but those things were happening in my life, apparently, while that was happening. And people were definitely acting really weird. Um, the ones who magically did show up, fucking. So, you know, it kind of looks like it's generating a story, it's a pre-generated story. I mean, right, it's a global thing because other people are talking about it happening. I'm listening to music talking about it happening. Being along with the music, you know, they're sending a magazine that's talking about music, and then it talks about, it's not really talking about the music because the music's about politics, and it brings up the music I listen to because it just happens to glance some of that shit. But then that happens to look like exactly what's going on in my life, and I don't know anything these people are saying. Um, I got no control over my life. I'm being moved around like every 7 months. I don't know anyone for more than 7 months, and if that, fucking, I definitely don't know almost anyone for more than a few weeks. Fucking, I there's probably like 6 people I can say I knew for more than 7 days in total and shit, or hung out with 15 minutes a day for 7 days. There's probably very little people who fit that category there. So my life was like moving around. Once I was like able to get away from where I was at, which I was just busy trying to avoid that the whole time there. So I was basically like for me, it was like blank nothingness. But it was a lot of other shit being forced my direction and shit. Like people forcing me to hang out with them and their people to do dumb shit. Uh, you know, to fucking learn how to carry gold thrones through the desert and fan uh, people who wish they could be important but can't come up with anything more important to do than uh, be fanned. You know, that takes a hell of a lot of effort, don't it, to be Cleopatra and be fanned, right? And it is, whew, super. That's Einstein. It literally is Einstein level. I think that's all Einstein did was sit around and his image is used to say he's a genius. So all I know about Einstein is he went around the world telling everyone to say he's a genius. And as a person who, like, other people ask for science, the answers to science tests, that's you'd think I'd have some sort of a huge background on this person if there was anything else to be offered there, but apparently there wasn't. And the only thing there was about him was he tells everyone he's a genius, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, he's a genius! Wow!" That's all you. So you're just like, hey, "You're not a genius like Einstein, there." You know, well, what did he do? Well, he said he's a genius. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what geniuses do, apparently. Fucking. So, the first 15 years, 14 years was mostly that. And monitoring, kind of like watching a zoo. Or kind of like you go into the monkey pit at the zoo. And you watch the monkeys, while you're in the pit. There's a reason there's glass there and a cage around the tigers and the monkeys. But, hey, I'm always the type of person who's like, why the fuck is there a cage here, man? Let the tiger out. I don't know about the monkeys or the other animals, but definitely let the tiger out. I'll go in there and play with the fucking monkeys. They didn't look very happy when I was pounding on the glass, and it might be a reason it says don't pound on the glass. But fucking, hey, I would have went in there and shit. They're bopping each other on the head. Fucking, I would have went in there and hung out with them and shit. Fucking, swinging from tires, hanging from the trees and shit. Fucking, and the tiger's just in there laying around looking all cute and cuddly and shit. Fucking, I would have went in there. Fuck it. They got those damn cages in that glass. They're keeping me out. Probably keeping the tigers safe from me. Keeping the monkeys safe from me. Fucking. Anyway, so yeah, I kind of get the idea. I mean, most of this shit that I'm suspecting is going on. I'm born in this time here where there's never been nothing else. So all it takes is a lie to say that something else existed and shit. Because I've never seen a world without computers. I've never seen flying reindeer. I've never seen fucking lots of that shit. I haven't made a book on listing the things I haven't seen. I didn't see a time when there was only books and stuff in the world. Fucking. And, yeah, anyway, so that's weird, right? Do you think, am I the only one who thinks that's weird, that art there? And again, like I said, one thing is they won't shut the fuck up about it. And generally, like, hey, I'm like over here in the monkey fucking cage and shit, and they won't shut the fuck up about swinging from trees and fucking, throwing bananas at each other and shit. Just sitting around and picking their nose. They won't stop fucking doing it. So, I get to experience that inside the monkey cage and shit, where they won't shut the fuck up about these things that are seemingly irrelevant to my life, but apparently might actually be going on in the world. I mean, I have a huge suspect there that those events happen the way that they were feeding me this media was fucking happening to other people in the world and shit, you know? And I didn't understand any of it because I'm not involved in it. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. But I do know that during that time, that was really suspect looking, you know. I have friends that go into their place and they got like porn on when I come in, like they don't know I'm coming over or something, and turn that off and shit. And it's all like, it's not only that, man. See, so much of that shit. Like that person was like watching porn related to that shit that what the magazine was telling me they're doing and shit, and they ended up being involved in pretty much. Like the person wasn't really my friend and shit, but it sure looked like it and stuff. And meanwhile, you got like the magazine like saying that those people are continually doing shit like that for centuries and shit. Not only that, they got a Bible saying they do it. They got a Bible saying they force you to be their friend and date them and shit. Fucking. So, so shit like that's like most of the world is like repeating that shit the whole time I'm fucking living through it and stuff. And no one's doing shit about it. Most people I know are involved in it. I mean, I wouldn't know what what their 2,598 different religions are saying if they weren't forcing me to hear it. You know, the second you talk to me about giant bunnies and flying reindeer, I'm never listening to you again. You're gonna have to invent drugs and slavery and all sorts of shit, which is weird because who are the right back full circle and shit to all this shit fucking. And who's the one selling art, claiming they're inventing it? Fucking when it looks like AI slop to me. Everything is everything, right? Isn't it what they say in their mind control cults? You know, go fry yourself on some acid cause, and be one with the world. And it's like, you know, those people telling you to fry yourself are fucking saying you know, they're all in it together and we are all one and type shit. And it's like, well, yeah, if it's a computer generating them and they're non-species, and they're all one computer. You know, if they're being generated by an AI, they're all one AI. There isn't, you know, Fauci isn't a unique living individual with a soul. You know, he says when he says he's all in it together with his friends, then that would be what they mean. But you see how they're spending all their time trying to convince you that that's not what it means. But at the same time, it does look like that's exactly what's happening. I mean, they're telling you they're God's AI, and then 2020 rolls around and they rename computers to AI, so they're telling you their God is a computer. They're being generated by a computer and shit. And maybe that's what it means with the acid heads and shit. That's some weird shit. Fucking right there. Fucking. Oh. But, and it definitely took a lot of them to, organized to do that shit. It didn't look like that early on, right? But obviously to pass laws to force me to stay in school so they could force me to date their people and be friends with their people so their people could play games with each other like that. Force me to listen to their music and shit. And force me to avoid learning about computers because they're embarrassed by their father, by who their parents are, or they're terrorists like their parents, who are run a very highly networked terrorist organization and shit to terrorize the living. Fucking that stuff makes sense, you know, like especially since 2020. But I mean, look it up. You got the 2007 Ghost Rider, obviously AI. You got Louis Royo making digital art, assisted art that looks exactly like some of it, not all of it, at a certain point in time. Again, I have to specifically, I have to spend more money and time telling my computer to make bad art than I do having it make something that's perfect and shit. You have to go backwards. I have to labor in order to create trash with a computer. I have to spend time and effort to create trash with a computer. Fucking, you have to, you have a calculator in the 80s, and now you've got a, like the calculator the other day I showed, pretty sure that was the incorrect answer it gave, but you have to spend time and effort creating trash because perfection's already there. So, you know, it's kind of like talking about flying reindeer. Like, well, you're born knowing not to talk about dumb shit. You're born not knowing dumb shit. And it takes time to become an idiot. It takes time to become a fucking hostile person who invents lies and manipulates people for you and your bloodline or nation or people's gain or toaster models gain, whatever they're trying to gain. Obviously, it begins with the person talking to you inventing bullshit in order to gain. But then they invented a book where they blame invisible goats that don't exist for everything they do. You got the invisible government, you got the invisible city, you got the invisible nation. You know, because the buildings walk around outside harassing people and telling them to carry them through the desert in their golden thrones and fan them and serve them. Fucking, it's a building doing it, right? It's not the people inside the building doing it. It's the whip, you know. When you get hit by a whip, because you fucking think a person who is making up bullshit should be fucking sterilized and not be allowed to breed, and definitely not allowed to talk to people not as dumb as it is. And you can't have all your social privileges taken away from you. There's plenty of people out there like them. They have, but why don't they want to be friends with them instead? Why do they hate each other so much? I got an idea about that one. And it's as plain as the look on their face why they wouldn't want to talk to someone who looks like themselves. Fucking, that seems to be tying into all this shit. Fucking, tying into all that shit because the Pope. Why doesn't he date a person who looks like the Pope? Well, now that they're all old, they do, because all old people look like rotting corpses. So you can't really differentiate. Well, at least all the famous ones on TV and all the ones. I get special groups who all look the same coming into my life. Fucking, so, I can't, yeah, I pretty much know only Ratchild and Rothschild, so pretty much every blonde I remember as a, they look like this and shit, and, their jaws are all like that, and fucking, they're not a rat child, so, I could see, and it's weird because I get handed during my life, like that's like the propaganda they push my way, as that those people are doing that. And so, for what purpose? Obviously, it's propaganda pushed your way too, because that's what the Bible says, isn't it? The Bible says that they're going to go act like they're your friends and lovers so they can take over your nation and shit. Fucking. So the Bible says they're doing that for some reason. And obviously, it doesn't talk about them in a bad light. Egotistical people never say anything bad about themselves. They think they're great, and yeah, we've definitely met those people large. You could tell some of these people at 450 pounds that, if you don't watch it, if you gain 200 more pounds, you might look like Jabba the Hutt. And then they're going to get real offended because it's Princess Hutt, It's ha 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 ha. Not today, slave. You don't talk to me like that. Fucking, you get that. For some reason, I don't know. My life seems really unique and set up and staged. And so that means one of two things. Either it is, or their people have killed everyone but me on the planet off, and that's all that's left. Fucking, so, and that's weird, because some of the propaganda is about the shit I get fed. That's what they're telling you someone else is doing, right? But there's no one else left on the planet. Fucking. So obviously those are the words in their head. That Nazi talk and blonde hair, blue eyed people are the best people on the planet. That's something coming from their head and shit. Like, I wouldn't know. I have very little interaction with non-Rothschild looking or Ratchild looking people. I wouldn't know myself. But supposedly, they, I've seen some pictures of them. So that's all. It's about the most I know about them. I've seen some pictures of them and shit. I met some of the Rothschild looking ones, but at this point in time, that doesn't look very appealing at the end of the day. It was more like maybe look, but don't touch, because obvious type thing, fucking. But it's weird how my life sets me up so I don't actually fall in line with them either. Like, they can't keep it together to, keep me around that long and shit. It's weird. It's like some NPC shit, They're fucking being sent in my life, and then I'm getting sent magazines telling me about certain people and how they act. And that's like actually happening. It looks like those are the people they're talking about, and they're doing that exact shit they're saying in the fucking magazine and in the music and shit. Fucking. But then you can also see where, Elon Musk is those people, and he's claiming he's against himself. And so, and then the people teaching me about that shit definitely had the Rothschild look. Fucking, the same thing. It says, looking at the whole thing, Elon Musk isn't the first person to claim he's against himself, to organize people, to make people give him money. It is as old as the Bible, ain't it? Fucking a group of people fucking that claim there's this evil group of people on the planet, and they are them. And then what they're doing is saying they're not them. And then who wrote the Bible? People who look like Elon Musk, right? So who wrote all the religions? He comes with the pyramid on. They sell the Bible. The American government literally sells the Bible. Fucking, and they claim they're against themselves in it. And that's what he's doing with the not. It's just, the trifecta there. The Nazism is just, it's scapegoating, which they tell you how to do in that. Fucking the original racial supremacy is religion. Fucking, that's why there was no word for it until 80 years ago. For millions of years, it was called religion. And then now, they invented an invisible person who doesn't exist. I've never met Hitler. There's no proof he exists. Can't prove it. Can't prove it just because some fucking idiot said so. Some idiot with fucking gray skin and dark hair and dark eyes said so. That's all the more reason to make sure you don't support it. You go around repeating words from people who are repeating fucked up shit all the time in lies. That's the thing about the flying reindeer shit. You go around, you listen to someone who says that, and then people are going to have to cut themselves off from you because you're going to be bringing them down. Like the Rothschild, David, I dated. They started bringing their fellow crackhead family around, and so it was over way early on. Like, well, you're gonna force me to be around this trash. You must be trash too. An apple doesn't fall far from the tree, but you don't go climb and live in the apple tree if you're not from the apple tree either. And the same thing happened. You see, you go around repeating words. You go around repeating dumb shit other people say, and now you're the dumb person saying that shit. And if not, you're going to be the person trying to drag that fucker into your house, into someone else's life, to drag them down, knowing damn well that this other person is going to be doing that shit, robbing them, stealing from them, trying to brainwash them to steal money from, get money from them, and favors and sex and etc. 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 Fucking, you don't even have to say. That's another reason. It's one thing to be forced in situations. It's one thing to be a little toddler and to be forced to hear people invent a whole bunch of psycho, genocidal, pedophile, mind control shit. It's one thing to be a child getting raped, but it's another thing to grow up and bring those rapists around other people. You're making the decision now to organize, and you're joining the gang. Of course, you're not a gang if you can kill all the people who say you're a gang. Of course, that's how governments and religions and organizations work. You just kill everyone who says you're not a religion. You kill everyone who says you're not the government. And no one's going to know any different because everyone who ever said any different is dead. You don't have to worry about that dumb bitch anymore. They're dead. As they should be if they're not giving me all their money. And they're women and children, men, especially the men. But don't tell anyone that's what we're really after. Don't tell anyone we're marrying the women so we can offer a man to have sex with it so we can have sex with the man. Don't tell anyone our deep secret about why we must get married, why we must continue to reaffirm that you must date women. As if it's not just common fucking sense. No fucking. Ah, the rabbit hole doesn't exist. There's a rat hole, and they're just creating books and movies of rabbit holes. And if you're choosing to watch all that shit, well, that's good for you. You know, I don't care. Well, it's like my dad when he talked about Epstein and Wexner. I don't care. Keep it to your fucking self. It's got nothing to do with me. I don't want to hear about this con man and shit. I didn't have to know he was raping kids back then to know he was fucking real fucked up. I could watch the animal tracks and I could tell the animal was not a fucking very good animal and shit. The patterns the animal did leave in the world were of no value and shit. I mean, technically, Victoria's Secret was pretty valuable, but that was not where that money originally came from. He invented nice clothing for women, which apparently no one in the world had ever, no one in America had ever done that. Apparently, 300,000 years ago, that existed. Apparently, America invented women wearing trashy clothes, so I don't know if it ever existed. You know, you wear your skirt in Africa, and then you wear your toga in Greek thousands of years ago, and then you wore that ballroom dress in Europe. And then America was like, you know, you put on this Beavis and Butthead T-shirt and some jeans and make some fart noises. Yeah, that's sexy. I think America invented that shit. That shit didn't even exist. That's another one of those things. It's like I have no proof that other shit ever existed. But according to history, nothing but that existed. And this other shit didn't exist. And I have no proof that computers never existed. And according to history, nothing but that may have ever existed. It's saying it looks like slop, it sounds like slop. Its art is uniquely perfect slop because it can't do anything but generate, for the most part, fucking geometric patterns. I never met anyone who, obviously, architects would be a little bit different, but wow, that's crazy. I don't know about that there. That seems weird. Anyway, so yeah, take a look at it. Go look at those pictures. Don't go to X. Look at the pictures of inside those chapels, and then look at the AI art. Now they probably don't produce. Go produce your own AI art, and it'll be like 2 out of 5. You'll see the pattern. Produce like 20, 30. You'll see the pattern real fast that it's just using mathematics to try to generate an image and shit. And then it slops it together sometimes, and then sometimes it makes like images of Earth that are fucking perfect and shit, totally flawless, fucking. And then I never that other shit's weird to me. Fucking, I didn't even like that other art. Fucking, and I don't really like that geometric shit either. That's weird. Fucking, and that art during that time was that other art. You know, the actual paintings were like sloppy, like Van Gogh type shit. And that's actually the only thing that makes you think a human made that shit is the Van Gogh type paintings and shit. Which that's just like that looks like watercolor, like this AI generated image over here. But there's when they say AI is modeling itself after what humans created. Well, why is it doing the geometric shit? No one's ever done that except for uh, 40 churches in different countries. That's not. The only time I've ever seen that stuff is the stuff over here don't look like that either. Fucking this only the images on X of churches I've never seen look like the infinite fractal from the Pope. Guys, obviously not the Pope if it's to the west of Italy. It's only the Pope if it's the east of Italy, right? Right. So it's not the Pope and not the Pope, but except for JFK and and all the people I know, and they're not the Pope, right? Fucking. Anyway, so that's the only proof we have. I've never seen a person drawing fractals. I've never seen a person design in fractals like that. That's very extreme mathematical artsy. How come they couldn't build towers, back then? Why would they only spend $1 billion building one small building and not $1 billion building some mega fucking complex for everyone to live in? That's another one of those little holes in the story. It's like, where did people used to live? They used to live outside? There's none of that. There's very few images of history of people living in tents and stuff. I've seen it in some movies. I never seen like homeless people. That was weird. During a time when no one did anything and everyone lived in tents, right after the time everyone lived in tents, everyone had a house too. That's a weird thing there. Fucking. I never really seen homeless people until I went to the West Coast, and then the camps were empty. Like, it was like a camp of like 100 tents, and supposedly they took over the whole city. I guess they took over the city and went inside the houses, but the entire city was a ghost town. And the camp was completely fucking empty and shit. There's no lights on at night. There's no sounds. Fucking, and I was out there fucking kind of walking around in it. So you'd think there'd be like some crazy crackhead like coming out to kill me. But like, how was this? Especially if they're at a war out there and shit with the government and stuff. Like, I never even seen that till I went out west and shit. Fucking, and it looked fake too, because it was empty. Where'd they go? Would they go back to their mansions or what? That part seems fake too. Like, the whole history thing looks like it's full of a bunch of holes. There's no any pictures with drums. The only musical instrument humans would have had for thousands of years. Yet there is not a single picture except for America's pro-America. We are number one. We are the only free people on the earth. We are the only government on the earth. Except for that one famous picture they use. Fucking, that's the only time I recall seeing drums really in any picture. Fucking, that's weird. That's weird right there. Fucking, because that means everyone had electric guitars back then instead. And I didn't see any electric guitars in the pictures either. And you definitely didn't have a harp. because that would be like a fine strings would be like finely tuned instruments that would cost billions of dollars to make. You would have to sell your nation and all your people as slaves in order to afford a harp. And there's still no pictures of it. You had to be Mozart from a rich family to get a piano. Fucking, which still would have cost like selling your nation to create and shit. We invented this thing over here. What's it called? It's called a piano. It makes noise. We took strings from these instruments no one's ever seen before, called a harp, and we put them in this big box with hammers to hit the strings. And you can sit down and hit the hammers, hit the buttons that hit the hammers and hit the strings. And you're like, what's a string? And it's from those harps. Angels used to play them 10,000 years ago. Why? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So it's like a bunch of harps in a box, right? Yeah, pretty much, man. It's going to cost you literally 700 slaves. Because there's only one of them. There's only one of them. Imagine being the bum who created that. And there's one of them. And you probably sell it for, you're probably starving and you sell it for 2 loaves of bread. And there's only one of them in the world. And it becomes the world's most famous musician, having it fucking selling thousands of CDs a day, being played at every orchestra hall every day for thousands of years. Fucking, that part don't make sense either, man. Not fucking seeing any pictures. It's like they hate drums or something, or they just didn't have them. No one's even banging on like a tree or a rock, and really, in much, unless it's like Native American or African, like Hollywood videos, recreating. Cleopatra had all this makeup and shit. She had like $7,000 worth of MAC makeup and shit, fucking, and a makeup artist. Clearly not what they would have looked like and shit. Fucking Liz Taylor or some shit. Fucking might be what they look like if they had makeup. Probably not. I mean, you don't even have running water out there. You couldn't take a bath. You couldn't clean your face. You couldn't wear makeup. You would be racked the next day. You would be wrecked. At the end of a year, you would look like toxic waste ate through your face if you were in makeup and you didn't have running water. And that's another thing. I mean, I guess I don't drink water, so I'm the one telling you. I think food and water is like an addiction and being promoted by the same people who sell drugs these days. That's another little hole in the story, except for the fact that I think I'm the proof you don't really need water to live. I don't remember eating and drinking water most of my life. Fuck. Especially if you have wine instead of water, too. Oh, wouldn't that like, wouldn't that go pretty bad, having no water to wash makeup on, wearing makeup, and continually reapplying it over the old makeup for years, having no rag to wipe it off with, and having no water to drink, and just having wine to drink. If you had a grape tree, which you don't have grape trees in the desert, you have like nothing in the desert. That'd be really expensive to get wine imported to the desert 6,000 years ago. I could see, Rome and Greece, Greece is surrounded by water, and Rome, Italy is a peninsula, so obviously they could have shit growing, but, the portrayal of that shit, you can't really, I wouldn't really trust them. That makes it seem fake too. Like they almost accentuate the fakeness and stuff of it. Kind of like AI accentuates the fakeness of its art. And that's the only way you can tell it's fake is either by how fractal it looks, how sloppy it looks, or how overly perfect it looks. Fucking. Anyways, yeah, so, check it out if you don't check it out. Fucking, you know what I'm talking about. Do you know what a fractal is? Look it up. Maybe that's like a ninth grade math, 11th grade math thing. But it's where. Okay, so a fractal is where the image it just itself over and over and over, and it overlays itself. So and it's in mathematical proportions. When it's in art, that's what it is, and that's what that shit was designed like. Supposedly thousands, 1,500 years ago, and supposedly they're asking me why don't people do that now? I was like, well, I don't know. The artist architect I know decided to be a carpenter and an electrician. Um, and I don't know if he would have even designed shit like that because I've never seen an artist create fractal fucking designs. It looks weird and shit. Like this is why you toss it out. Is why the only fractal art I have is like stuff to keep just to show you how shitty AI can be and stuff. Fucking, and then they say, on X, they're like, oh, well, that's when that's when the Romans brought the Bible, brought God to Europe, and then I guess after they brought God to Europe, Europe died. They the only thing I can extract from that is what you went there and enslaved them and forced them to build statues of you, and then now they are no more, and they can't build it. What am I supposed to extract from that propaganda when I go on X? Because that's all I can. It's like, huh. So Jeffrey Epstein brought Epstein's religion and converted the Northerners, and of course Epstein's religion is pyramid building type shit, where you build pyramids to worship your leaders. So then the leaders were squandering all their money. This is the only logical thing I can think of is the leaders were squandering all their money on statues of themselves to remind the world how great they are, type shit. And no one even remembers them. You got to realize that too when they're baiting you with that slave technique. Like, what is the world going to remember as you? Well, the world's not going to remember you. Doesn't matter who you are. The only reason anyone's going to remember Elon Musk is probably because he's up to some evil shit and he's going to get well known for it. That's the only people anyone remember. There's Caesar. He got killed because no one liked him. So he's famous. He's famous because the world hated him. There's Hitler. Oh, he's famous because everyone hates him. There's Mozart. He's the world's first piano player. You don't even know who the world's first drummer is. You don't know who the world's first guitarist is. You don't know who the world's first harp player is. You don't know who the world's first uh, anything. All you know is Mozart, right? Amadeus, you might know that. Do you even know who that is? You don't. You've just heard the name. You have no idea. Is it a person? Is it a building? Is it a car? It was the first car. No one knows. No one else. So there's Hitler and there's Caesar and Cleopatra. And Cleopatra and Caesar both got killed because everyone fucking hated them. And Hitler got killed because everyone fucking hated them. Now there's a story of a guy named Jesus who got killed because lots of people hated him. But some people question whether that's real or a made up cartoon character because there's no evidence and it was created long after it. Whereas with Hitler and Cleopatra, people are in general agreeance that people, like my grandma was alive back then and she sent grandpa to die fighting Hitler. So, um, or to get a house, whatever their reasoning. I understand why I went to join the military. It's not to go fight Hitler and shit. It's the total opposite. It's not because I want to go take Hitler's money and buy a house. It's because I want a house, right? That's why I go to the recruit center, fucking. So I'm not gonna make up any stories there on that. Fucking. Uh, the other person I know who talked about why they were going into the military wanted to go to the military to kill all those brown people in the Middle East. It was at church, so I guess he thought that land was his and this land was his, and he wanted to go take that land back too. He wanted to go take that land too, all of it too, because no one was really talking about Palestine back then. They were blowing up Iraq and Iran and all that shit. So it's just like the whole fucking place. Obviously, so those are two people I know. Everyone else was like, well, we were forced. It was a draft to what we were supposed to do. The people who talked about it, anyways. That's kind of rare. You meet people who talk about that shit. Fucking. The one dude was like 11 or something. So he didn't know yet that you're not supposed to talk about that shit. You learn once you're in there not to talk about what the fuck happens. You know, it's not something cool and trendy and shit. Fucking, you want to go around fucking talking about. Once you actually get involved in war and shit, you realize it's not a GI Joe cartoon and shit. Fucking. Some people, anyways. I think most people do. And even G.I. Joe would realize you don't really want to go around telling people you're G.I. Joe, so fucking. It doesn't work. You learn strategy, right? Hopefully they teach you that. That's why Rome got famous. Their military got famous because they invented strategy. So they're literally famous for that. Anyway, so looking at all that shit, fucking, that's all I think. What's the point of that? What's the point of those pictures when I go to those websites like X and stuff, or when I was a kid, when I was getting those magazines with the music, and the music was like, "Might is right." Um, um, were they praising Rome in that, or I'm trying to think. I think I think they were praising Rome in that song. So it's the only time I heard about that before. Fucking. Anyway, so what is? I'm sure they would have. It's weird they didn't. I shouldn't say I'm sure they would have, because of all the times I read those magazines or listened to the record labels or any of the other labels across the planet that talk about that shit. No one ever talked about that. In fact, in Europe, the music I listened to was saying that wasn't a good thing that happened. So, yeah, yeah. You know what? In fact, kind of contradicting, because I think the music might have been supporting Rome, and then they were promoting the music that was talking about the churches were being built upon their corpses and shit. Fucking. But anyways, it looks like AI slop, don't it? Does it not? Like, that's the only thing I can get. I go on there and they're forcing me to fucking hear it, so I'm talking about it. They're like, why do you think this isn't happening anymore? It's like, 'cause AI computers are stupid now. Like, what am I supposed to think? What are you pointing at here? I'm here listening to Donald Trump tell me he's the world's sexiest man. You're telling me these are his sexy churches. And personally, I think it's sloppy. Um, they're kind of cute and all that, but it's real irritating to see that. That's why you throw it away. That's why no one's selling you the AI fractal art, because everyone is looking at that and looking at the other art AI generates, and they're like, no, this is slop. Now, when AI creates something good, you're not like, this is slop. You're like, hey, this is a modern artist and shit. Fucking, and it's like, no, it's not. It's computer assisted. Fucking, no one ever made fractal art. Isn't that weird that supposedly during the year, sometime between the years, between 2,000 years ago and 1,500 years ago, people built fractal art and have never done it again. Maybe it's one of those time periods or something, but it doesn't make sense. There'd be so much labor involved in it, kind of like building a pyramid. There'd be so much labor, but it's a total waste. And where is it now? I don't even know the names of it, right? 16th Chapel or something like that. Right? See, I don't even know the name of it. They're going to go down in history, aren't they? Don't forget to fucking work really hard so the world remembers you, like all those musicians in from 1870, right? You remember all them? Nope, nope. There's one musician that people know called Mozart, and that's about it. There's Elvis, and he's dead, and those people are on their way out too. So, in 50 years from now, just because you're alive when it's happening, Code Pandorum is awesome music, ain't it? Fucking, well, I bet you in 100 years, my children, I'm not gonna have, are gonna fucking know nothing about that, right? Because it's just another musician and shit. Who's it? Donald Trump is only gonna be known for, JFK's famous for getting shot, but it's been 100 years. He's on his way out. He's not going to be famous for getting shot for thousands of years. The world's not going to create some story about, oh, remember this time when America was really good people? The rest of the world has no fucking. They aren't creating anything like that. UK is like Kim Kardashian. They're talking about Kim Kardashian in their media and shit. So think about that. You got Elvis, and they were replaced by Kim Kardashian and Beyonce. So that's how. Who was the Sphinx built after? Who is Amen Ra? Probably a person who hid behind a mask. No one knows who these people were. He was a birdman. Probably didn't exist. Fucking. Who is this Sphinx dog, half dog person? No one even knows who that was invented for. Nefertiti? Fucking. It would. What the fuck? That sounds like slave talk right there. 90 trillion people have been on this planet, and you know the names of 5 of them. And other people who are no one knows their name. Their own kids forgot their name 20 years after leaving their house. We'll be telling them shit like, what's the world going to remember you for? To get them to go deliver papers for them or clean their toilet. You know, learn how to clean toilets or something. Fucking, what's the world going to remember you as? Man, that's some slave shit. And at this point in time, there's churches and shit. Fucking, what am I remembering them at? Other people seeing the same thing. I'm remembering them as that thing that looks like AI art, and all the people have no idea how this shit's built too. Wow, it looks like AI art, and you have no idea how anyone could have invented that because they didn't have the tools to do that. That right there seems really suspect. Fucking, they don't know. The people telling you that their creator's name is AI and they've been worshiping it for centuries as their creator are telling you they have no idea how they built the shit that they supposedly built. No one told each other how they did it. They just did it. And it looks like AI. And once you look at that, look at the statues. Because obviously the pyramid is like old and rotting and decaying, right? So we can't look at that, but look at the other statues that are all perfect and shit. Fucking, how does that happen? What type of material did they use that lasts forever and looks? Do they go out there and sand it down and polish it every few years? That was weird. I thought those people were busy building new stuff, but now they're busy maintaining old stuff. But if they were sanding it down and stuff, then it would look different eventually. There were thousands of years. Fucking. Anyways, the churches look like AI slop, don't they? Those famous ones. So that's my answer. I go on X and they're saying a bunch of stupid shit, and you know what? Like, I'm not even gonna fit in if I don't say any stupid shit. So why did that? What happened? Why is that not happening? Well, it's not because the people I know could have done that shit. I don't know anyone who would have done that. Fucking. Actually, someone I know does a hell of a lot of shit like that, and it does happen to be the artist, and one of the artists, and it does happen to be the person who was going to go to architecture, but instead chose to do 10 other things. So technically, but he doesn't build anything like that. He doesn't build anything like that. I don't know what he does build, but I've never seen anything like that in this nation. So pretty sure he's not building anything like that because he was in this nation last I checked. So that's my answer. We're gonna go to a place, a stupid place, with stupid people hiding behind stupid accounts, probably AI generated fake accounts themselves. So why is AI asking stupid questions like who invented this? This is our tradition, and it's like, what do you mean this is our tradition? X is an American website, and I rarely, if ever, see anything Europe and American media. So I go to Europe media to find out about Europe, and UK is talking about Kim Kardashian. So I have no idea. And these people are 99% of the time, if not 100, behind fake accounts. So they're probably not even people. So it is like Elon Musk, his people are generating all this propaganda to divide people. And, they run the BLM, they run the Nazis, but they run the religions. So, you know, they made Bioshock, so clearly they're bombing the Middle East while supporting the Quran and its offshoots, and which is it's just religions. So, and they're telling you they're not, but come on, fucking Roman statue Joe Biden, fucking, he was supposedly the other thing. They're still back and forth. They're telling me I must worship the Middle East, and by doing that, I gotta go bomb them so they can move back there. And then it looks like it's just they're designing shit to group people together and make them kill each other, right? Like, so you got Europe, who was colonized by Middle Eastern religion, and now they've got them claiming they're being invaded by Middle East. I was like, well, that happened 2,000 years ago. And that's what Donald Trump, and that's what he's telling me on his other fake accounts on his website and shit. Is it these Bible religions are invading Europe? It's like, well, that was 2,000 years ago. I think that happened. And I'm pretty sure it's how those fractal buildings got built. That's what the Europeans are telling me. One of the ones who died early in life, anyway, said that. So I think a lot of people were actually saying no. There's in that I don't know what all they were saying back then, but then you got Hitler. He's sitting beside a Middle Eastern looking priest, right? So it probably is everything it looks like, right? I don't think it can be anything it's not. So it can't look like anything it's not. And it probably my final answer, and the almost obvious answer, almost always correct. Someone comes up to you talking about flying reindeer, and obviously this is a predator making up lies. You know that. You don't need to learn about everything that's going on, and they're the only people to ever legalize preying on people. Fucking, you don't need to learn about that to know that. You just know right away. And then you look at those fucking churches, and you look at the AI art, and you're like, wow, that's the same thing AI does when it generates images. Is it will generate some shit like that and be very complex and time consuming and very slave like. Although they were some people who live there, some people actually live there, not Americans, obviously, claim that that did happen to them over there, that they did get enslaved. That makes sense, fucking. Because they tried to do it over here in America. They did do it over here in America. And supposedly they came from there in order to do it, so they would have been there right before they came here. Wow, it's hard to figure out. It's almost like everything that you see with your eyes when you open your eyes for the very first time is everything that there is to see. Wow. It's all this learning. So if you're gonna go to a stupid place like X and listen to stupid people like say stupid shit, stupid They're going to blame that on AI, aren't they? They're always blaming someone else for what they're doing. I shouldn't give them that credit that they're fake accounts. There's fake clones outside too, but we're not discussing that, are we? Because we're trying to promote an agenda here of enslavement. Fucking yeah, that's what I'm seeing, and that's my final answer. That's gonna be my answer for everything since 2020. Fucking since they changed the name of computer to AI. Fucking yep, that makes sense. So awesome. Check it out. That's what a fractal is. Look at those images. Don't go to X to do it, because next thing you know, you'll be fighting for Netanyahu's right to return to Sweden and right to own Sweden as well as Israel. Fucking. And claiming you're not, claiming you're fighting Netanyahu. Fucking. Seems to be what it is. It's just a circle there. I don't know why it's actually happening around me. Like, the people being sent into my lives, and then their people mailing me propaganda about their people, claiming they're against their people, and they look like they are the people they're claiming they're against every time, like Elon Musk and Trump. Trump's anti-Rothschild, ain't he? Fucking Elon Musk is Hitler. Fucking Hitler was Hitler too, huh? Fucking. And those other people and the storylines I got fed when I was 16 or 15, fucking very similar shit. Dude, and the most famous person they were advertising was their Elvis Presley, ended up dating Middle Eastern people, but he already looked like one too. Fucking. I think it was just. It sounded like nonsensical propaganda that wasn't teaching me anything while shit was actually happening in my life. I was being distracted by fucking flying reindeer fucking stories, variables to fucking shit that I couldn't see, fucking, but were probably happening, but designed in a manner that wasn't actually teaching you anything about anything, and you have some of those other people following them up, clearly are them. So you have from Germany, you have what, Rome's, no, that was like 6,000 years ago they invented the word scapegoat. So it started like 6,000 years ago in somewhere in Middle Earth and shit, where they just say it's someone else, it's not me. I'm not out here forcing people to build pyramids. I'm not out here fucking forcing people to date me and my family. It's they're forcing us to do it. Someone else is forcing us to date them. Fucking seems to be that's you go, pretty big empty fucking prison. You're trapped in. Well, thousands of years ago they invented it in Middle Earth, and then you're born 300 years after they get to the final island on the map to fucking do it. And wow. You know what? I should have hope. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hope when I go over here and open my dresser drawer, I find 10 giant bars of gold so I can go fucking do some shit and fucking get the fuck out of this nation, and hope that in a different nation I'll find different fucking people to be friends with, instead of people forcing their way into my life, lying about shit, trying to bring more Rothschild crackheads into my life. So I'm going to be hopeful that I'm going to go over here and open this dresser drawer And there's going to be that 10 gold bars I misplaced that I never owned or seen in the first place. And that's going to be enough to get me the fuck out of this nation. And maybe I'll be able to feel comfortable somewhere else. Probably not. I think the whole thing's been tainted, and it's not gonna work. I already went to a different country, and then they were letting me know. Fucking, they were still there. Fucking, so yeah. Yeah, I'd say probably not, but I'm not gonna be. I'm not gonna not have hope and dope. So I'm gonna go over here, open this, get my 10 gold bars out, go over to the pawn shop, trade them in for some plane tickets and some luggage, fucking, and some clothes that fit, fucking, and then get the fuck out of this shitty country and stop listening to their bullshit. And I've hoped that when I go to a different country, there's not going to be a bunch of dumb shit like that when I read their media. Obviously, it's not going to be UK because their Daily Mail is a bunch of dumb shit. Fucking, So yeah, they're hoping dope. You guys think I'm a crackhead for having hope? Like I do you? Come on now. You're not going to tell me your own hope you're selling is just crack, are you? Is this a drug you're trying to get people addicted to for your own profit and gain? You're not going to tell me that, are you? Obviously, it's not going to work if you tell me that, so, but I'm going to have hope, so I don't have hope. I know it's going to be there, ain't it? Fucking, okay. Enjoy having sex with your fathers tonight. I know most men generally do, and for you ladies out there, enjoy your dogs. Oh yeah, fucking. I'm gonna enjoy my 10 gold bars over here as I get the fuck out of this place and see if I can't find a nation I feel comfortable in and can forget about all this shit and begin life as a toddler and set forth into the world. Oh yeah, that'll be fun. Right, we can go in. Hopefully not some place where they want me to build pyramids and shit. Fucking. Now, not Ireland, right? Because they'll be wanting my gold bars. I'd be taking the leprechaun gold coins. So there you go. You probably never hear from me again, right? Because when you have hope and dope, things happen, right? So I'm gonna be hopeful. I'm gonna stop being hopeful every day that I die to forget about all this, and I'm gonna be hopeful that them 10 gold bars my grandpa was gonna leave me, but he died before the war, and he died before I met him, left me. Isn't that right? Because that's where they came from. I don't remember getting the gold bars, so someone else would have had to put them in there, and it was probably grandpa and shit. Fucking. Hopefully he didn't spend it on that house that he let the government. He went and killed people for to take. Hopefully he left the gold bars where they're supposed to be in that drawer over there. And I'll go get them, and we'll begin life anew. We'll run away again, trying to get away from this shit for the 100th time, 10 millionth time. That's all life's about, is running away, because it's like a fucking, a predator camp and shit. Fucking Epstein's, Cleopatra's fucking predator camp. Fucking. Hopefully go the way there's some good music and people listen to good music. Find a girl, find a woman. A nation where there's women too, fucking educated people. We're gonna have to be a lot of shit in one place, but I'm told we're gonna be able to find that shit. Fucking not breeders, not people so stupid they don't know where kids come from and have them, accidentally have them with people they don't like and want to be around with and need some people they've colonized to raise them for them. Not that. Hopefully we'll find this other stuff. I don't. Whatever it is, it could be a new drug, right? As long as it makes us, forget all that shit's been happening. Hope and dope, bro. Hopefully that'd be fucked up if the hope worked, and then I could never forget about the hope and dope because the hope and dope actually worked. We went in the opposite world. We were born in the reversey world, and then we reversey world, and then that magically gave credence to reversey world. So then you're stuck in a reversey loop for all of eternity. Wow, that might actually be worse, right? Other than me trying to sit around and kill myself, that has more hope than that. Probably is going to feel better than fucking actually believing these 10 gold bars in there, which there is. Don't get me wrong, they're in there. I'm going to go get them. And you're never going to hear from me again because I won't be connected to computers anymore. Well, it won't be on social media, that's for sure. Fucking, because I won't be having to prostitute myself out for cash and shit. For pennies on the year. Fucking, yeah. Okay, so, yeah, just like, right, and then those 10 gold bars are going to prove to me that, hey, maybe, you see how it's going to work when the 10 gold bars are there because hope is real. And that's going to prove that people could actually build those fucking buildings because they was inventing them with their mind. Well, I tell you what. The drugs that are the opposite of crack are wearing off, apparently. So we're gonna have to do something either way. If we don't find those 10 gold, we're gonna find those 10 gold bars, and then we're gonna get a drink to try to, prepare ourselves so we think right and move into the future. Oh yeah, then we're gonna go to space too. I'm gonna go steal the Millennium Falcon. That's probably what I'll do with the gold bars. I'll hire a Wookiee and shit to help me go steal one of those NASA space shuttles. And that's really the only life goal I could think of at this point in time is getting a fucking spaceship to get the fuck off this planet and remain in space. Because I'm gonna get those weird feelings that the other nations gave me before I think probably much of any other nation I'll go to at this point. Because I'm just going to always be worried since I've already seen it happen when I go into a different nation that America will continue to follow me. Yeah. So hope and dope, guys. I'll tell you what, you guys never see me again. At least, there's good hope for you, right? You can do something with your life instead of watching these fucking videos and shit. And that can give you hope too, right? That you can get some fucking tickets out of here and shit. Yup. Probably all that shit. All these videos for nothing, right? fucking, there'll be no more videos after the fucking, the world will end. Fucking. Alright, so Hope and Dope inside the not slave colony America. Hope and Dope. And Dope and Hope. And definitely not hanging from a rope. Yeah. So excellent. We're gonna go do this, and then we're gonna get off to some other random nation and look and see what we can find there. See if we can find some other like-minded individuals, and fucking not have the same events start to happen that happened last time. We thought that could happen. Yep. Fuck. Well, yeah. You know what they say. Only retards believe in flying reindeers, but right now, we're sounding pretty retarded, so maybe we become retarded. We're all in this together, right? So you guys help me. Pray along. It's not pray, we don't have to pray. It's going to be there. It's already there, right? Isn't that the new religion? Which is the same as the old religion. It's already there, so it is there. And if that doesn't work, I gotta go give all I've gotta. If that doesn't work, I know I've got like at least $1.45 in pennies and nickels and dimes over there that I haven't been using because stores got mad at me last time I took in change. So I can always throw that into a wishing well or give it to someone who told me I'm not wishing and hoping enough so they can buy some gold bars for themselves. Right? And add them to their gold bar palace in Middle Earth. Yep. Yep. We can always do that. You know, actually, I'll throw it at their fucking head.